thing you told me when we met was I had a band called the B-Girls.
Right. In the 70s. Right. We started in Toronto.
Yeah.
And at the beginning of the punk time. And then we moved to New York the following year. We opened for The Clash on their first North American tour. And we were going back and forth to New York. We were actually playing at CBGB's in Max's Kansas City more than we were playing in Toronto. So we just all moved. We quit our jobs and we moved.
How was that like, living in New York at the time in the late 70s?
It was great. It was scary and interesting, and everyone helped us, and we slept on people's floors. It was like that.
You end up playing opening for The Clash. How did that come about?
They saw us play at CBGB's, and we were opening for the Dead Boys and the Ramones. And Joe Strummer and Mick Jones came and asked me, I managed the band, if we wanted to open for them on their European tour. And then what ended up happening was we got our passports, everything was set to go, and the drummer Topper Hedden fell off the drum riser just before the tour and broke his wrist. So it was canceled, so we were heartbroken. And then to make it up to us, we did the North American stuff on the East Coast. So we opened for them twice in Toronto, once in Montreal. We opened for them in New York, New Jersey, Philadelphia, Boston, Detroit. We rode on their tour bus. We used their equipment.
Which year was this?
I think it was 79 or 80. The funny thing was that we didn't realize it was a big deal at all.
Yeah.
And we were, the other girls were 19 and I was 21, I guess. And we would just play practical jokes on them, like silly things. Yeah. But we opened for pretty much everyone in those days. Anyone you could think of.
I mean, I've read like the Undertones, Blondie, Richard Hell,
Elvis Costello. Yeah. The Heartbreakers, I mean, they were our friends. And I met Johnny Thunders and David Johansen in 1972 with the New York Dolls. And before the B-Girls even existed. I was going to New York all the time. So I always knew I wanted to live in New York. I guess I was 18 in 1972, I think. And I went on my first trip by myself with my girlfriend who was 16. And we went to New York and we went to this bar called Nobody's. And we met Johnny, actually.
And then you met David through Johnny?
Yeah, the New York Dolls had just lost their drummer in London. He died in a bathtub, and they were looking for a new drummer. And so Johnny was at this bar, we were at this bar, and he came over and asked me. I thought it was a made-up line, but it was. He wanted me, to meet this guy, because they were considering him for a drummer. He had auditioned that day, and he wanted to know what girls like us would think of a guy like him. So that was at a place called Nobody's, and then Jerry became the drummer, and Johnny and I stayed in touch from that point on until he passed away. We were like best friends. It's called The Secret Door.
I have it.
Oh, beautiful. I brought one too, so yeah, thank you. It's on a little independent publisher called Far West. I always wrote poetry, but I never shared it. Even as a child, I wrote poems, and I read a lot, and books were always an escape. I'm sure you can relate.
Yes.
I wrote the songs in the B-Girls. I wrote most of the songs and the lyrics, and the poetry is just an extension of the same thing. And I played in other bands and was playing music really till 2019 in bands in New York. But in 2014, I think, was when I started writing. I wanted to do a memoir. I started it, I stopped. It was very difficult, but the poems just come. In the morning, I don't think about it. They just flow. It's like feelings. So I've been writing since then, and in 2023, I recorded an album of my poems to music.
Yeah.
With this guy in Toronto.
What's his name again?
Tim Bovaconti, and he's a multi-instrumentalist, and he's just very encouraging. He's a session guy, and he tours with this guy called Burton Cummings, who was in a band called the Guess Who. They wrote American Woman.
Yeah.
That song. Yeah.
Great song.
Yeah. But he's also played mandolin with Leonard Cohen.
Really?
Yeah. So we have a very good sense of communication between us. Started posting my poems on Instagram, and I'm in Toronto a lot looking after my mom now. My dad passed away from COVID in 2020, and so I was away from New York and away from all of my friends and away from my bands and the music scene, and I just kept writing because I was isolated, so it was a different way to be creative. It was a different outlet. And when he read the poems, he contacted me and said, I read your poems, and have you thought about putting them to music? Because I can hear the music. And I said, yes, I hear the music too. I already know what the music is. I just don't know how to make it happen. And he said he has a recording studio and in his backyard, and that we could try something. So I walked over and we tried, and it worked, and then we just kept going. It's almost like therapy for me.
The songs, since I heard a few when you performed a few days ago, are kind of like hypnotic.
Yeah.
You kind of go a little bit into a trance with you. So for me, they also felt therapeutic for the listener.
Oh, that's interesting.
Like these girls and even me, like we started kind of singing along like a mantra.
And it is like a mantra. That particular song, Adieu, when I say, today I say goodbye, dead lover, younger self.
Yeah, it's like a cleansing.
It is. My habit of walking in the past is making me unwell.
Today I say goodbye, dead lover, younger self. My habit of walking in the past is making me unwell.
It's really talking about all of those times with like the early New York times, being stuck in the sadness of so many losses, as we were talking about the losses of like David, Johnny. I was involved romantically with Stiv Bators for quite a while.
Yeah.
And, my husband also passed away. Many people. So I was kind of really just stuck in this melancholy, sad thing for the longest time. But the record and the poems are actually have given me a release from that. And even though they are heavy and deep and sad, I'm not in that anymore. I feel like it kind of freed me.
Yeah.
The most common thing that the feedback that I get, and it's almost always from younger women, is that the poems make them cry. And that, because my poetry is just feelings. It's like floating on feelings. That's how I describe it. But they say, you say what I feel, but I can't put into words.
Yeah. Yeah, that's maybe exactly how I felt too.
Because it's an expression. It's a release. It's to me it feels so different than playing music, because playing music, you're in a band, you're with other people. I'm a bass player, so I was never even saying my own words before, even if I wrote them.
Yeah.
And now it's being there with no protection and totally exposed and totally vulnerable. And it's very scary, but it's also a beautiful thing. Like after, I feel energized by it.
Talking about a few of the poems, what was the one about, or more like a homage to Leonard Cohen, I think?
Oh yeah.
What was that one called?
Prayer.
Prayer,
I tried to incorporate, the titles of some of his poems and some of his song lyrics, and yeah, I mean he's he was a big influence on me as a child. I met him in Toronto when I was 14.
Tell me about meeting Leonard Cohen.
Well, I mean, my mother actually turned me on to Leonard Cohen, to his writing. And obviously I knew what he looked like, and, you know, I'd seen the CBC documentary about him from the 1960s, you know, and I probably had a crush on him. You know, I was 14 years old, and I was standing in front of a bookstore, looking into the window, and it was in this street called Yorkville, which was like Greenwich Village in Toronto. It was the place where Joni Mitchell and Neil Young and all of those Canadian artists played in coffee houses, and it was in the winter, and it was snowing. And I was looking into the window, and I sensed this person standing beside me. I had my school books with me, too. Like, you can just picture it. And I saw his reflection. And I thought, this is Leonard Cohen. I can't believe this. So he was looking in the thing, and then I looked at him, and he said, hello. And I said, are you Leonard Cohen? And he said, no. But would you like to go for coffee? And I said, I don't drink coffee, but I'll go for hot chocolate. And we went to the coffee house, and of course I knew it was Leonard Cohen. I heard his voice and, you know, everything. And I was so intimidated and nervous, probably the way that I feel doing the poetry now. It's like the same kind of, because it mattered to me. And I started thinking, now what do I say? You know, what can I say to Leonard Cohen? And I said, I feel very nervous. And he said, why? And I said, I don't know what to say. And he gave me, you know, well, there's never anything to say between people, really, is there? I was like, good one. And I'm melting, right? And then I said, so why are you actually in town? And he said, oh, I'm doing this concert tonight at the university or somewhere. And he said, would you like to come? So I guess he'd forgotten about the fact that he told me he wasn't Leonard Cohen by that time.
Seems like it.
And he gave me 2 tickets. He told me your name will be at the door +1 or whatever it was. So I took my mother. I went backstage, and I had this Art Nouveau locket that was actually, it was a notebook. It was not silver, pewter. It was pewter, and it was from like the 1930s. And it had a little pencil in it and a pad of paper, and it had never been used, but it was vintage. And I had him sign it, and he wrote Love from Leonard in it. I met Leonard Cohen in Montreal when I was 18. So 14 in Toronto, 18 in Montreal at this place called Night Magic, Nuit Magique. And then met him in New York when I was 21 and in the B-Girls, because he was living on Stanton Street with Ariane.
Oh, yeah. Is that close to Clinton Street?
Yes, so
they're like parallel.
Stanton and Clinton, so that song, there's music on Clinton Street all through the evening. So I live on Clinton Street also, and it wasn't intentional, it was just that happened. So so Leonard Cohen has always been a big influence, so I wrote that song as an homage to him.
Thank you for all of these stories.
Take down the heavy velvet curtain. It covers the stained glass and hides the daylight. And muffles the sound of children singing. Today I say goodbye, dead lover, younger self. My habit of walking in the past is making me unwell.
lay it down with gilded memories and love. Part of an old plan to protect myself from pain. But now the pain has overgrown within and taken my name. Today I say goodbye, dead lover, younger self. My habit of walking in the past is making me unwell. I count the hours until night, and darker darkness amidst clinging vines and branches to see if I'm still here. That heavy velvet drape shields me from everything. Beside me at this moment, inside if I breathe. Today I say goodbye, dead lover, younger self. My habit of walking in the past is making me unwell. Today I say goodbye, dead lover, younger self. My habit of walking in the past is making me unwell. Today I say goodbye, dead lover, younger self. My habit of walking in the past is making me unwell. Today I say goodbye, dead lover, younger self. My habit of walking in the past is making me unwell. Today I say goodbye, dead lover, younger self. My habit of walking in the past is making me unwell.